It's been months as we keep our focus on water. That was very much the infrastructure side of this morning's focus. But remember, a couple of months ago, we were out in Hammanskraal in Pretoria, all to do with the cholera outbreak. You'll remember the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant was at the center of the contamination crisis. The city of Tshwane then came out promising lots and lots of money in investment to try and get it refurbished. But the problem is that price skyrocketed. Let's head over to our reporter. It's Pule Letshwiti-Jones who's following this for us. He's back in the area now. Pule, hello to you as well. And so 450 million rand was the initial number. I think that's when I was standing where you are now. It didn't take long for us to get into the billions and billions of rands to refurb Rooiwal. Where are we in the refurb this morning? Hello.
Well, a very good morning, Gareth. We're still in the process of having to actually refurb the Rooiwal water plant. But as far as we also understand, if that plant doesn't work, it has an impact on other plants as well, such as the Temba water plant, which is responsible for distributing clean water to residents here in Hammanskraal. But of course, we will be speaking to the city in a few minutes from now. But on the ground, the community members are still upset with what's going on. In fact, the progress of having to refurb the Rooiwal water plant has been disturbed due to the strike that has been going on for about 2 weeks or so. Some workers have downed tools and they want a salary increment as well. But we also understand just about 94 workers have been dismissed by the city, which says they have embarked on an illegal strike. But I'm just going to be joined by the leader here, Mr. Ndlovu. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Ndlovu, this morning. What is the latest, Momo Hammanskraal?
No, thanks, Pule, and also to your viewers. What is happening on the progress normally of water, you remember the president came here and addressed the community to say, no, the national government is going to intervene in the issue of Rooiwal, of which that is happening. But for now, we can't say a lot is happening lately because of when you check, there's a strike, and then it's very serious where workers are looking forward to get what is due to them, of which as part of leadership, we do support the workers on this issue. Because of, remember, when this workforce is not happy, and then they won't be able to come out and service the community. So we also support them to say the city must do the right thing. In actual fact, we're saying the DA and also the opposition parties, the parties that they lead with them, they must actually call a special council and ensure that they approve this issue of workers so that they get the salary increment so that we go back to normal. Remember, this is affecting the people of Hammanskraal, residents in particular, because of the more the city doesn't work, the more progress is delayed, and the more progress is delayed is the more people will get this water that is not needed. For now, we do accept the intervention of your water tankers and stuff, but that's not enough. People want water that is clean from their taps.
So the situation is still the same? Nothing has improved in the community in Hammanskraal?
The situation is improved, I can tell you that, but it's not clean water. We all know that the water is not to be drinkable. You can use it for other things. Then potable water is being supplied to the community. Also NGOs, Gift of the Givers and other parties are also assisting. You can also see that at Jubilee Hospital, those cases, cholera cases are no longer there. They've cleared. They also closed in the disaster operational center because of everything is back to normal. But we're not saying because things are back to normal, then we must relax. So we must also make sure that the DA, Action SA, and parties that they lead with in that council, they must come to their conscious mind and agree that they must call in a special council and agree to say, no, let's ensure that workers, they get what is due to them, because of the more services are disrupted because of not wanting to give workers what is due to them is going to cause us a whole lot of things going forward.
And what's the mood like on the ground? What are residents saying regarding some of these water projects, infrastructural refurbishments being delayed as well as a result of workers and contractors being disrupted and not being able to move progressively forward in terms of fixing the water infrastructure in the city and ensuring that residents of Hammanskraal have clean water?
No, what we'll need to say is that the residents of Hammanskraal, they will need to understand that the DA-led city is failing them. Because of the more you don't do what you are supposed to do, is causing us a problem. Because of residents, they are waiting eagerly for better services. Now, it's not only the issue of water that is affected, and many other services are also affected because of they don't want to give workers what is due to them. So we'll also want to urge the DA and its parties that they lead in council, they must reconsider and ensure that they give workers what is due to them. It's not like the workers, they have a problem of working, but give them what is due to them. It's almost 2 financial year workers without getting their a salary increment. You will understand there's issue of inflation, there's issues of other things that that also affect the workers. And another thing that you need to understand is that since the DA has led the city, when people retire, when people resign, they don't fill in those vacant posts. So these workers, they also have to work extra mile to also cover up for other vacant positions that are there. If you check in Region 2, you will only have a small team that will work on your sewer, water leaks and stuff, who are very small, and they will have to work 12 wards. And it's a small team. So the DA must also make sure that they advertise all those vacant positions and make sure that people they come there and work so that communities are being serviced.
We look at just outside the water plant. Are these some of the workers as well who are actually not going inside because they're not satisfied with them not having the salary increment?
Yeah, it's the issue of for them not being satisfied, but also remember now the DA is trying to run a propaganda to say no, there's workers who are intimidating other workers not to go to work. When a workforce is not happy, try to make sure that they are happy, because if you can continue to delay this issue and taking it to beginning council, but you know that you owe them, because of you can't make them their problem that you couldn't manage your finances as the city.
Okay. Thank you very much. As one of the leaders here in the community, Mr. Michael Ndlovu, is speaking to us, Gareth. As you can see, some of the workers here who actually say they will not be entering inside the timber water plantation site, which is responsible for distributing clean water to Hammanskraal, but of course cannot continue that process of ensuring that there's clean water if the Rooiwal water plant isn't fully functional and hasn't been fully refurbished. Now what you're seeing here currently is that the services will come to a standstill due to workers having embarked on a strike, which has of course been regarded as illegal by the courts and has been interdicted by the city as well. But what we're seeing here is services being interrupted, and key things such as pipelines and water infrastructure and other infrastructures having to be refurbished and serviced will come to a standstill due to workers not going to work. But of course, there's that issue as well of some of the community members and leaders saying that there has to be urgent meeting or council session that must be convened to address this backlog of workers having not been paid, and of course to ensure that the issue of the clean water in Hammanskraal is something which is looked into and finalized as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's going to be the problem. At the moment, there's going to be concerns around increases in wages and working conditions. That's going to have to be dealt with first, I think, before there's any talk of dealing with the water issue itself. And yet, once again, we find ourselves with another problem as to why we're seeing a reduction of water quality in our country. Pule